Hello and welcome to Mining Stock Daily with me, Paul Harris. Today we're talking about gold exploration and development in Colombia, and I have great pleasure to be joined by Alistair Still, CEO of GoldMining. Good morning, Alistair.
Good morning, Paul. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here today.
You're more than welcome. You put out a PEA, a preliminary economic assessment, on your La Mina project, which is in Antioquia in the Middle Cauca Belt in Colombia this week, and some very interesting numbers there. 102,000 ounces a year gold equivalent production for more than 10 years. So over the life of the project, that's more than 600,000 ounces of gold and 165 million pounds of copper. I imagine you're quite pleased with the results there.
Yeah, I think it's certainly an encouraging advancement for La Mina, and I think it's an encouraging advancement for gold mining. We have been accumulating assets for a number of years, and really, when I came into the project to the company just over a year ago, and we really wanted to lay out foundational work to advance our projects. So we did update resources on material projects within the company. About 75% of the total resources within the company, and that's some 32 million gold equivalent ounces, so a very large portfolio of assets. And we saw the value in La Mina as a resource and advancing it. And this preliminary economic assessment, I think, validates that. And really, for us, it's a stepping stone to what our next stages are. It's preliminary, it's early stage, but as you say, it's demonstrated there's a solid economics to advance this, and we will be proposing some more work to try and advance this further, and not the least of which is trying to see if we can make the resource larger. And in particular, there's one target on the project that has us very excited. That's the La Garucha deposit, which is adjacent to the zones that have been announced in the PEA. Previous company, Belhaven, when they owned the project, had done some drilling there, had some very encouraging drill holes, and we'd like to do some follow-up work on that ourselves later this year.
Okay, this is, if correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time you've taken the step of going to a PEA, an economic study. Why have you? I won't say change of strategy, but why are you now sort of looking to perhaps take this route with some of the projects you've got?
Well, it's a great question. I think what gold mining has really done a very good job on in the last 10 years, led by our founder and chairman, Amir Adnani, they've been great accumulator of projects and assets, and very astute purchases, very timely purchases that added a lot of value and picked up a lot of projects. And I think the transition has come with me entering the company is that we're turning a bit of a corner rather than just being accumulators and sitting on those assets and being able to float with the price of gold. We see these as highly undervalued assets, and it's really about unlocking the value within that portfolio to try and create more value for our shareholders. And the first stages of that, of course, are getting a solid resource base, which we've updated last year. And now it's this commencement of PEA studies to show that projects have economics. So along with this study at La Mina, we've also undertaken a PEA study on our San Jorge project in Brazil. And that's another project we're very excited about. It's a high grade open pit deposit, very close to existing infrastructure and roadways, and there's a power source and power lines nearby. So that project also has us very excited about advancing towards a PEA.
Okay, thank you, Alistair. In the recent past, or not too distant past, the company sort of spun out or created a royalty company called Gold Royalty, and that has royalties on a number, if not all, of the projects in gold mining. So I guess there's that other motivation there to get the projects advanced, get economic studies on them, moving them along the road towards a production scenario.
Well, absolutely. And I think just to highlight on the gold royalty IPO last year, we did write small royalties on our existing portfolio of assets. We put that into a new vehicle called Gold Royalty, launched it with an IPO, brought in an experienced management team led by David Garofalo and John Griffith. And that was a tremendous takeoff success. It raised over $90 million. And I think that does a few things for us. One, it was a validation of the gold mining assets in that portfolio. And two, it's created an enormous benefit to gold mining with this almost 100 million US dollars now on our balance sheet in a liquid asset. And having a junior company such as ourselves with a strong balance sheet with 100 million dollars with cash and an equity component, plus having an extensive resource portfolio of some 32 million gold equivalent ounces, really kind of distinguishes us from many of our peer companies.
Okay, thank you. Now let's talk a little bit more about Lamina and the overall context there. Lamina's in the Middle Cauca Belt, as you mentioned, and that's a part of Colombia that's getting a lot of attention, a lot of various new entrants and in development work. Noticeably, last year, Aris Gold with the Marmato project and an IPO, successful IPO of Collective Mining with the Guayabales projects just north of there. And a bit further south, you've got an Australian company, Los Cerros, advancing the Miraflores project. GoldMining's got another couple of projects in that belt, sort of top and tailing the belt, if you like, with Titiribi and Yaramalito. What's the overall sort of plan or direction for the company in this part of the world?
Well, it's a great question. I'm glad you put the context with the other companies that are advancing projects and developing in this region. And we're very bullish on the region. You've highlighted a few of the companies, but in the last 10 to 20 years, there's been some 100 million ounces of gold discovered in this region. So it's a highly prospective area. We love the exploration potential on it. We're excited about our three projects. La Mina is probably the most advanced in terms of moving towards a PEA study, but we're also cognizant of the very large resource we have at Titiribi and some of the exploration potential we're also demonstrating now on our Yaramalito project. And like we did with Gold Royalty in terms of unlocking value, we think those are two projects which also have upside to unlock value, and they're attracting a lot of attention from other companies who are also looking at them. So we have options to advance projects ourselves, or we're also looking at options where we may entertain a JV partner or additional spinouts or new opportunities. So different ways to unlock value within our portfolio, and it may come in the form similar to, I say, the Gold Royalty launch, or it could come in the form of looking at partnerships as well. And what it does highlight is that gold mining has a large portfolio of assets. We can't advance them all ourselves. We're focusing on our key ones to start. We may look for partners on the others, but there's a lot of value to be unlocked within that portfolio.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit more about the portfolio now. I think you mentioned you've got about what's over 16 million ounces of measured and indicated gold equivalent ounces in the portfolio, another 16 million ounces in inferred, with projects in Canada, the USA, in addition to Colombia, also Brazil and Peru. That's quite a portfolio to manage. So, what's the sort of overall aim of what you're trying to do with the portfolio? And then let's talk about what some of the other work plans throughout the portfolio are for the year.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, great question. And I think the countries you highlight show that we are based entirely in the Americas, which also makes us a little unique. We're very comfortable working in that north-south jurisdiction, good solid mining areas. The other thing that what it highlights, and you pointed out the 16 million ounces gold equivalent and measured indicated, and almost exactly the same in the inferred gold equivalent categories as well. They are scattered on 11 projects that have resources on them right now, as well as some projects which are pre-resource stage. So we have a lot of assets in the portfolio. And what I would point out on those assets is that if you look at our current market cap, and if you stripped out the value that we have on our balance sheet with the gold royalty shares, so creating an enterprise value per ounce, we're valued at something less than $5 per ounce, which is really an unheard of valuation. And you can take a comparable companies, or you can take a basket of companies, and I would say that you're looking at a range of 20, 30, $40 per ounce would be a comparable amongst peer company of ourselves. So really, we have a large portfolio which is underappreciated, and I think our focus is on targeting and showing the assets that we do have really do have compelling value, and it really translate to a potential enormous re-rating once the market catches on and realizes, hey, this is a good portfolio of assets. It should be on comparable terms, and that represents a substantial potential increase for our shareholders.
Thank you, Alistair. Obviously, we've been talking about the PEA and Lamina. You mentioned the PEA on San Jorge in Brazil. What are the other sort of key highlights of things you're working towards this year?
Well, I would highlight as well in that same area of advancing projects. One project that we haven't talked about, which will get a lot of attention lately, is we actually have a uranium project in our portfolio as well, the REA project, which is it's located in the Athabasca Basin in Alberta in Canada, which is actually home to some of the highest grade uranium deposits in the world. And some of the deposits there are operating at almost 100 times the global average of uranium deposits, so high grade district. We have a very large land package there, 125,000 hectares. It's not core to gold mining, but certainly with the price of uranium lately, it's attracting a lot of attention. And although uranium may seem like it's got quite a high price right now, it's really only about one third of its all-time high. So we still think there's growth in uranium, and we see junior companies in that same district with much smaller land packages than us trading on single assets between 50 to 100 million dollar market caps. And here we have this asset in our portfolio that's not getting the attention it deserves, and that just illustrates one more opportunity to potentially unlock that, and whether that be into a new vehicle or a new co, or even option to someone else, could create an enormous amount of value for us, and let us stay focused on our primary gold projects. I would also point out along the similar lines, one project that we haven't started to work on, but we've been doing a lot of research and background. And I know I've been up to the site recently myself, and I was very excited to visit our Whistler project in Alaska. Tremendous project. It has over 9.4 million gold equivalent ounces. It's got a significant copper component. It's in the USA, in the state of Alaska, which is seeing an awful lot of mine exploration development right now. So we're very excited about Whistler. And one of the other components about Whistler that makes us excited and thinking how we might advance it and move it forward is that the state has announced funding over $8 million. The state is contributing to study for a road access into this part of the state. So the state's encouraging development and wanting to see access, and that would be a huge bonus and boost for our project. And we will see what opportunities there are for us to advance that project this year as well.
Thank you, Alistair. Just to sort of finally now, with so many projects, I mean, I suppose it's going to be akin to asking you to pick your favorite child, but what's the one thing you're most looking forward to achieving this year throughout the portfolio?
Well, it's a great question. And certainly with a big portfolio, we do have to remain focused. We don't want to spread ourselves too thin. We're very encouraged by the PEA at Lamina, and we'll be focusing on targeting the next stages there to get drilling going. We're also highly excited about our San George project in Brazil. We are working on the PEA, and I think what the PEA is doing for us there is identifying a number of opportunities that we will have to advance further, including a resampling program on some old core that wasn't fully sampled in the past, and we're getting some very encouraging results on resampling that core, adding some new mineralization to the model. So that's got us excited. And I say I'm also very excited about what is the next value unlocking move, similar to a gold royalty, and whether that be in our uranium asset or perhaps it's in one of our other assets. But there's also opportunities to do a further unlocking transaction within our portfolio, and that would be exciting to happen this year as well.
Well, it sounds like there's going to be some more good news coming out of gold mining later this year. Gold mining trades on the TSX under GOLD and on the NYSE American under GLDG. Alistair Still, CEO, thank you very much for joining us today.
Pleasure to have been here today, Paul, and look forward to giving further updates throughout this year.